The air is thick with tension as three armed men drag a terrified teenage girl through an abandoned warehouse. Their smug grins quickly fade when they receive a video call. On the other end is the girl's mother, calmly cleaning a sniper rifle. "You just made the biggest mistake of your lives," she says softly. "And it will be your last." What these gangsters don't know is that they've just kidnapped the daughter of Aria Cross, the most feared assassin in the criminal underworld. A sleek black motorcycle weaves through the rain-slicked streets of New Harbor City, its rider moving with practiced precision. Behind the tinted visor, Aria Cross's eyes remain fixed on the road ahead, her thoughts drifting to the life she left behind 5 years ago, the same life she's now forced to return to. Her phone buzzes, a message from her handler, Marcus. Target eliminated. Transfer confirmed. Final contract complete. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Aria allows herself a small smile. After 847 successful contracts, she's finally done. The legendary Ghost of New Harbor can rest at last. The motorcycle slows as she enters the quiet suburban neighborhood of Oakwood Heights. Here, among neat rows of houses and carefully maintained gardens, lives the reason for everything. Her 16-year-old daughter, Sophie. The same daughter who believes her mother is a high-level corporate security consultant, always traveling for work. Lightning flashes across the darkening sky as Aria parks her motorcycle in front of a modest 2-story house, removing her helmet to reveal sharp features framed by short, dark hair streaked with silver. At 42, she carries herself with the fluid grace of someone half her age. Only the faint lines around her eyes hint at the weight of her past. The front door opens before she can reach it. "Mom?" Sophie stands in the doorway, her expression a mix of surprise and uncertainty. She's grown taller in the 3 months since Aria's last visit, her auburn hair now reaching past her shoulders. "I thought you were in Singapore until next week." "Change of plans," Aria says, pulling her daughter into a tight embrace. Sophie stiffened slightly before returning the hug, a small gesture that cuts deeper than any wound Aria has ever received. "I'm home for good this time. No more traveling." Sophie steps back, green eyes narrowing with suspicion. "Really?" "Just like that?" "Just like that," Aria confirms, following her daughter inside. The house is exactly as she left it, maintained by monthly deposits and a dedicated housekeeper. Family photos line the walls, carefully crafted moments from their time together, each one a reminder of her absences. Thunder rumbles outside as Aria's trained eyes automatically scan the house. Old habits die hard. New security system installed, motion sensors updated, reinforced windows in place. The contractors had followed her specifications perfectly, though Sophie would never know the true purpose behind the recent home improvements. In the kitchen, Sophie busies herself making coffee, falling into their usual routine. "So what changed? Did you finally get fired?" Aria sets her bag down, choosing her words carefully. "I realized some things are more important than work. I've missed too much already." "5 years worth," Sophie mutters, her back turned. "Ever since Dad." The unfinished sentence hangs between them. James's death, officially a car accident, was the moment everything changed. The night Aria's past caught up with her, forcing her to return to the only life she knew to keep Sophie safe. Her daughter never knew the truth, that the accident was a message, one that sent Aria back into the shadows to dismantle the organization that threatened her family. A flash of memory hits her. James's smile the morning before it happened, his last kiss goodbye, the way he'd laughed at her paranoia about the new security system. He never knew what his wife really did before they met, never understood the real reason she'd left that life behind. Sometimes Aria wondered if knowing would have saved him. Sophie's voice pulls her back to the present. "Earth to Mom? You went away there for a second." "Sorry, just tired from the flight." Aria lies smoothly, years of practice making it effortless. "How's school going?" Still taking those advanced placement classes? They're fine, Sophie responds, but her tone shifts slightly. Aria catches the subtle tell. Something's bothering her daughter. Actually, there's this thing with my calculus teacher, Mr. Reed. He's been acting weird lately, like he's nervous about something. Yesterday I saw him arguing with some guys in the parking lot. Aria's instincts flare to life, but she keeps her expression neutral. Weird how? A notification chimes on Sophie's phone before she can answer. I'm going to be late for study group, she says, grabbing her backpack. We can talk later, I guess. I'll make dinner, Aria offers. Your favorite? That pasta thing with the sun-dried tomatoes? A ghost of a smile crosses Sophie's face. You remember? I remember everything about you, Sophie. Aria watches her daughter head for the door, fighting the urge to check the security cameras she had secretly installed throughout the neighborhood. Hey, I know I have a lot to make up for, but I'm trying. Sophie pauses in the doorway. Yeah, well, trying starts with being here, right? The door closes behind her with a soft click. Alone in the kitchen, Aria allows her carefully maintained composure to slip. She pulls out her secure phone, not the civilian one Sophie knows about, and sends a message to Marcus. It's done. Ghost is retired. Destroy all remaining contacts. The response comes seconds later. Confirmed. Good luck, Aria. Try not to kill anyone at the PTA meetings. She opens a hidden panel beneath the kitchen counter, revealing a small arsenal of emergency equipment. Everything is exactly as she left it. Weapons, cash, documents, burner phones. 5 years of paranoia had taught her to be prepared, even in this peaceful suburb, if only it were that simple. After 15 years in the shadows, Aria knows better than anyone. You don't just walk away from a life like hers. Someone always comes looking, but this time, she'll be ready. She has to be. Because now, for the first time in 5 years, she has something worth protecting right in front of her. The ghost of New Harbor is dead. Now she just has to learn how to be a mother again. The next morning finds Aria in her home office, surrounded by 3 monitors displaying various security feeds from around the neighborhood. Her fingers move swiftly across the keyboard as she runs background checks on everyone in Sophie's life. Teachers, classmates, their parents, even the local barista who makes Sophie's favorite caramel macchiato. Mr. Reed's file gives her pause. The calculus teacher's financial records show a series of recent large withdrawals, followed by desperate attempts to secure high-interest loans. More concerning are the encrypted messages she intercepts from his phone, coordinates, timestamps, and code words that set off every alarm bell in her head. A knock at the door interrupts her investigation. Aria switches the displays to innocuous spreadsheets just as Sophie enters, already dressed for school in her Westbrook Academy uniform. Since when do you knock? Aria asks, trying to keep her tone light. Since when are you actually here in the morning? Sophie counters, but there's less bite in her words than yesterday. She hovers in the doorway, fidgeting with her backpack strap. Listen, about study group today. Aria's phone buzzes, a message from Marcus that makes her blood run cold. Urgent, Vermilion contract traced, buyer active in New Harbor. The Vermilion contract, 5 years ago. The job that went wrong, that led to James's death. Aria forces her expression to remain neutral as Sophie continues talking. So anyway, we're meeting at Chelsea's house instead of the library. Her parents are out of town, but her older brother's watching us. That's okay, right? Every instinct screams danger, but Aria knows she can't lock Sophie away in a bubble. Chelsea Martinez? The one who lives on Maple Street? Yeah. Don't worry, I'll be home by 9. Sophie shifts uncomfortably. Unless, maybe you want to drive me? We could grab coffee first or something. The olive branch catches Aria off guard. For a moment, she sees the little girl who used to beg for piggyback rides, who thought her mom was a superhero. In a way, she wasn't entirely wrong. I'd like that, Aria says softly. Give me 5 minutes to finish up here. After Sophie leaves, Aria quickly sends a message to her most trusted contact in New Harbor. Need full surveillance on 1247 Maple Street. Priority 1. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Then she opens her personal safe and retrieves a specially modified watch, slipping it into her pocket. In the kitchen, Sophie is pouring coffee into a travel mug. "Dad used to make breakfast every morning," she says suddenly, not turning around. "French toast on Wednesdays, he never missed it no matter how busy he was at the hospital." The implied accusation hangs in the air. Aria approaches slowly, placing the watch on the counter. "Early birthday present, I know it's not for 2 weeks, but..." Sophie picks up the sleek silver timepiece, admiring its elegant design. "It's beautiful. It's also waterproof to 100 meters, has a built-in GPS and..." Aria presses a hidden button revealing a tiny compartment. "Emergency beacon, just in case." "In case of what?" Sophie asks, but she's already putting it on. "In case you need me," Aria answers simply. "I might not always be right next to you, but I'll always come when you call. Always." The drive to school is filled with careful conversation, neutral topics like Sophie's volleyball team and the upcoming spring formal. Aria catalogs every detail. The names of Sophie's friends, the boys she mentions and the ones she deliberately doesn't, the teachers she trusts. As they pull up to Westbrook Academy, Aria spots Mr. Reed hurrying across the parking lot, his shoulders hunched. A black SUV with tinted windows idles nearby. The same model she'd seen in his financial records, recently purchased with cash. "Hey," Sophie says, hand on the door handle. "Thanks for the watch, and the ride, and, you know." "I know," Aria replies. She watches her daughter walk away, joining a group of friends near the entrance. For a moment, she allows herself to imagine a normal life. School runs and homework help, family dinners without checking for surveillance cameras first. The illusion shatters as her phone lights up with another message from Marcus. "Vermilion buyer identified. It's worse than we thought. Call immediately." Aria puts the car in drive, but not before noting the license plate of the black SUV. As she pulls away, she doesn't see Mr. Reed watching her through his classroom window, his hands shaking as he makes a phone call of his own. In her rearview mirror, Westbrook Academy grows smaller. The gleaming modern campus looks nothing like the abandoned warehouse from 15 years ago, where a rookie assassin named Ghost had refused a contract for the first time. The target had been a witness set to testify, a single mother with a young daughter. Aria had walked away from that job, broken her own rules. Months later, she met James, fell in love, started dreaming of a different life. Now, sitting in suburban traffic in her sensible sedan, she realizes she's come full circle. The ghost of New Harbor might be retired, but her past isn't done with her yet. And this time, Sophie's right in the crosshairs. Marcus's voice crackles through the encrypted line in Aria's parked car. "The Vermilion buyer was Viktor Petrov." The name hits Aria like a physical blow. Viktor Petrov, the man who'd ordered James's death, whose organization she'd spent 5 years methodically dismantling. The man she thought she'd killed in Bangkok 8 months ago. "Impossible," she says, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. "I put 2 rounds in his chest myself." "Body double," Marcus replies grimly. "The real Petrov has been underground, rebuilding, and now he's in New Harbor. There's more. He's bought out half the Riverside district through shell companies in the past month." The Riverside district, where Chelsea Martinez lives, where Sophie is headed for study group tonight. "The Martinez house," Aria says, already pulling up satellite imagery on her tablet. "What else?" "Facial recognition caught him meeting with 3 former Ghost Protocol assassins last week. They're not here for a reunion, Aria. This is..." Marcus's voice cuts off abruptly. "Marcus?" Static fills the line. Then silence. Aria immediately activates her backup protocols, but her phone's screen flashes with an incoming video call from an unknown number. Her thumb hovers over the accept button for exactly 2 seconds before she makes her decision. Viktor Petrov's face fills the screen, older than she remembers but still wearing that same cold smile. The scar she gave him 15 years ago stands out starkly against his pale throat. The ghost herself, he says softly. Still hiding behind a mother's face? How domestic you've become? You're supposed to be dead. Aria keeps her voice steady, already tracing the call. So are you, my dear. 5 years ago, wasn't it? When you chose maternal duty over professional courtesy? His smile widens. How is young Sophie? Quite the student, I hear, especially in calculus. Ice floods Aria's veins. If you go near her, you'll what? Kill me again? Petrov laughs. Your Mr. Reed has been most cooperative. Amazing what people will do when they owe the wrong people too much money. Did you know he has a daughter too? Same age as Sophie. Such a shame. The video switches to a live feed of Sophie in her calculus class, taken from the teacher's desk. She's bent over her notebook, absently twirling her new watch around her wrist. What do you want? Aria asks, though she already knows. The Vermilion files. All of them. You have 12 hours. Petrov's face returns to the screen. And Aria? For old time's sake, don't try anything creative. You're good, but even you can't watch her every second, especially not with poor Marcus requiring your immediate attention. The call ends. Aria sits perfectly still for exactly 10 seconds, processing variables, calculating odds, formulating plans. Then she's moving. First stop, her hidden cache in a storage unit across town. The biometric lock disengages with a soft click, revealing an arsenal that would make small nations jealous. She selects her equipment with practiced efficiency. Ceramic blade in her boot, garrote wire disguised as a necklace, compact pistol with subsonic rounds. As she works, she pulls up the tracking data from Sophie's watch. Still at school, signal strong. A second window shows the surveillance feed from Chelsea's house. Nothing unusual yet, but she notes multiple blind spots in the coverage. Sloppy. She'll have to fix that. Her phone chimes with a text from Sophie. Can we get pizza for dinner? Chelsea bailed on study group BTW, meeting at the library instead. Aria's blood runs cold. She immediately calls Chelsea's number from Sophie's emergency contact list. Hello? A young voice answers. Chelsea? This is Sophie's mom. Oh, hi, Mrs. Cross. Actually, could you tell Sophie I'm really sorry about canceling? My brother's car broke down, so we can't host tonight, but the library should be... Aria cuts her off. When did you cancel? Just now, like 2 minutes ago. Mr. Reed said he'd let Sophie know in class. The pieces click into place with terrifying clarity. Aria's already running to her car as she sends a rapid series of commands to her security system. The school's cameras show Sophie packing up her belongings as the lunch bell rings. Chelsea, listen carefully, Aria says, her voice deadly calm. I need you to find Sophie right now. Tell her not to leave the building. Tell her... A muffled explosion rocks the parking lot. Smoke billows from 3 separate locations around the school. Precisely calculated distractions. On her tablet, security cameras go dark one by one. Aria floors the accelerator, weaving through traffic with surgical precision. Her daughter's watch shows she's moving. Too fast, wrong direction. Not heading for the library. Another text from Sophie's phone. Going to library early. Don't wait up. But the GPS signal tells a different story. Sophie's heading straight for the Riverside district. Straight into Viktor Petrov's trap. The ghost of New Harbor was dead. But as Aria Cross loads a fresh magazine into her weapon, she realizes that some ghosts don't stay buried. And this one has 15 years of rage to unleash on anyone who dares threaten her daughter. The school parking lot is chaos when Aria arrives. Fire trucks, police cars, panicked parents. Through the smoke, she spots Mr. Reed hurrying toward a black SUV, his face pale with sweat. Their eyes meet for a split second before he ducks into the vehicle. Aria's about to follow when her phone lights up with a call from Marcus. She answers on secure channel 2, already moving. Where are you? Maintenance room, Riverside Plaza, Marcus wheezes. Took 2 in the chest, but I got something. Petrov's got a... A sharp crack cuts through the line, followed by the distinctive sound of a suppressed pistol. Marcus? Aria keeps her voice low, slipping through the crowd of onlookers. Stay with me, a different voice answers. Smooth, cultured, feminine. I'm afraid Marcus is indisposed, but he did want to tell you about our little setup at Riverside Plaza. Sweet of him, really. Always looking out for you. Katerina. Aria recognizes the voice of Petrov's top lieutenant, the woman who'd trained her before Aria became the ghost. Still doing Victor's dirty work? Still pretending to be a soccer mom? Katerina laughs softly. You know, I watched you for months. PTA meetings, grocery shopping, those cute little coffee dates with Sophie. Tell me, does she know her mother has a higher body count than most cartels? Aria reaches her car, sliding behind the wheel. If Marcus is dead, oh, he's alive, for now. In fact, why don't you come say hello? Sophie will be here soon anyway. We can make it a proper reunion. The line goes dead. Aria checks Sophie's GPS signal, still moving toward Riverside, but slower now. They're stuck in the afternoon traffic jam caused by the school evacuation. She has maybe 15 minutes. Her tactical display shows 3 potential approaches to Riverside Plaza. The main entrance will be watched. The service tunnel is too obvious. That leaves the construction site on the north side, 30 stories of unfinished luxury condos, another of Petrov's shell companies. As she drives, Aria activates her emergency protocols. A hidden compartment in the trunk opens, revealing a sleek black case. Inside, tactical gear, rappelling equipment, and an experimental prototype she'd borrowed from a military contractor last year. Time to field test it. Her phone buzzes, a video attachment from an unknown number. Her hands don't shake as she opens it. The footage shows Sophie in the back of the SUV, unconscious but breathing steadily. Mr. Reed sits beside her, looking sick. A man's voice off camera. Package secure. En route to destination. Aria's world narrows to a laser focus. She allows herself exactly 5 seconds to feel the fear, the rage, the guilt. Then she locks it all away. The mother recedes. The ghost emerges. She parks 3 blocks from Riverside Plaza, using the afternoon shadows for cover as she moves. The construction site's security is good. Motion sensors, infrared cameras, armed patrols. Amateur hour, 2 guards at the north entrance. Their comms indicate 10-minute check-ins. Aria times it perfectly. A distraction with a borrowed phone playing a baby's cry. A silent approach from behind. Pressure points instead of lethal force. They'll wake up with headaches, nothing more. As she drags them into the shadows, a message arrives from Katerina. Getting warmer. But time's running out for poor Marcus. Tick-tock. Aria strips off her civilian clothes, revealing matte black tactical gear underneath. The experimental prototype goes on last, a form-fitting mesh of cutting-edge reactive camouflage. Not true invisibility, but in the shadows of the construction site, it's the next best thing. She's halfway up the building's skeleton when she spots the SUV arriving. 4 men escort Sophie inside, Mr. Reed following with slumped shoulders. The teacher glances around nervously, then pulls out his phone. Aria's own phone vibrates seconds later. A text from an unknown number. I'm sorry. They have my daughter too. But there's something you need to know. It's not just about the Vermilion files. They made me plant something in Sophie's watch. Ice spreads through Aria's veins. The watch. The birthday gift she gave Sophie this morning. She'd checked it for tampering, but if they'd compromised Reed earlier. A quick scan confirms her worst fear. Hidden beneath the GPS transponder, a miniature explosive device. Not enough to kill, but perfect for taking off a hand. Another message from Katerina arrives. Found the bug yet? You have 30 minutes to surrender, Ghost. After that, Sophie learns the hard way not to accept gifts from strangers, even if they're her mother. Aria closes her eyes for exactly 2 seconds. When she opens them, her decision is made. They want the ghost? They'll get her. But not the rookie they trained 15 years ago. Not the naive assassin who thought she could walk away. They'll get the woman who spent 5 years dismantling criminal empires while packing school lunches. The mother who buried her Mercy in the same grave as her husband. The sun sets behind Riverside Plaza as Aria begins her ascent. Somewhere above, her daughter needs her, and the ghost of New Harbor has one final contract to complete. The 27th floor of Riverside Plaza is a maze of half-finished luxury offices. Exposed wiring hangs from the ceiling like electronic veins. Emergency lights cast strange shadows across bare concrete floors. Perfect hunting ground for a ghost. Aria moves silently through the darkness, her camouflage mesh adapting to each new shadow. The prototype works better than expected. The guards have walked past her position 3 times without noticing. Their overconfidence will cost them. Through her tactical display, she tracks multiple heat signatures 2 floors above. 8 armed guards, moving in practiced patterns. 1 stationary figure, probably Marcus if he's still alive. And in the central office space, 3 signatures. 2 adults standing, 1 smaller figure seated. Sophie. Her earpiece picks up radio chatter. Package is secure. No sign of the ghost. A pause. Maintenance level is clear. East wing cleared. Continue sweep of... The voice cuts off as Aria drops from the ceiling, striking with surgical precision. The guard crumples without a sound. She catches his radio before it hits the floor. West wing clear. Moving to Sector 4. 25 minutes until the watch detonates. Time to move. She reaches the executive elevator shaft, attaching her grappling line to a support beam. The doors are sealed, but the maintenance hatch above provides access. As she prepares to ascend, her phone lights up with a message from Mr. Reed. Sophia's at Westbrook Hospital, room 412. They showed me proof. Please, my daughter's all I have. Aria's jaw tightens. She remembers Sophia Reed from the background checks. Bright, athletic, dreams of becoming a doctor. Just like her father before debt and desperation destroyed him. Another message arrives, this time from Katerina. Getting nostalgic up there, Ghost? Remember when I taught you how to disappear? Now I get to teach Sophie. Right after we remove that troublesome hand. Aria begins her climb, mind racing through scenarios. The watch's explosive is sophisticated. Trying to disarm it could trigger an immediate detonation. But if she can get close enough to Sophie, there might be a way. She reaches the 29th floor as gunfire erupts below. Through the security feeds she's hacked, she sees chaos erupting in the lobby. A tactical team in FBI jackets storms the entrance, led by a familiar face, Agent Sarah Chen, her emergency contact from her government contracting days. This is the FBI. The building is surrounded. All civilians must evacuate immediately. A useful distraction, but it also starts a countdown. Petrov won't risk exposure. He'll either run or... Her tactical display flashes a warning. Multiple heat signatures moving rapidly toward Sophie's location. They're accelerating their timetable. Aria exits the shaft like a shadow, neutralizing 2 guards before they can raise the alarm. Their radio crackles. Ghost spotted in the lobby. All units converge. Amateur mistake. Never trust reports without verification. But their error creates an opportunity. She reaches the main office suite, pressing against the wall beside the door. Inside, she hears Katerina's voice. Change of plans. We're moving now. The FBI... Mr. Reed starts to protest. We'll be too late, Petrov's cold voice interrupts. Ghost, I know you're out there. 10 seconds to surrender or we test that watch's explosive range with Sophie's throat a bit closer to ground zero. Aria closes her eyes, calculates angles, distances, probabilities, opens them. 8 seconds. She thinks of James, of teaching Sophie to ride a bike, of promises made and broken. 5 seconds. Her fingers brush the hidden compartment in her tactical vest. One last gift from Marcus. 3. Aria steps through the door, hands raised. You win, Victor. The office is massive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Sophie sits zip-tied to a chair, eyes wide with fear and confusion. Mr. Reed stands nearby, gun trembling in his hand. Katerina lounges against a desk looking bored, and Victor Petrov smiles his shark smile. The mighty ghost surrenders, he says softly. For love. How disappointing. Mom? Sophie's voice shakes. What's happening? They said you. It's okay, sweetheart. Aria keeps her voice steady. Everything's going to be okay. Touching, Katerina drawls. She moves behind Sophie, pressing a knife to her throat. The vermilion files. Now. In my tactical vest, left pocket. Petrov nods to one of his men. Check her. Carefully. The guard approaches cautiously. Aria doesn't move as he reaches for the pocket. Found it. Some kind of drive. The watch first, Aria says. Disarm it. Then you get your files. Petrov laughs. You're not in a position to negotiate, my dear, though I admit, I'm curious. He turns to Sophie. Did you know your mother is a killer? That her body count makes most serial killers look like amateurs. Sophie's eyes lock onto Aria's. In them, she sees not fear or disgust, but a familiar determination. James's determination. And Aria realizes she's not the only one who can keep secrets. Sophie's hand moves slightly, drawing attention to the watch, to the way she's worked one arm almost free of the zip ties, to the fact that she's her mother's daughter. 15 seconds until the FBI reaches this floor. 10 seconds until the guard opens the tactical vest pocket. 5 seconds until Sophie makes her move. The ghost of New Harbor allows herself a small smile. Time to end this. Everything happens in an instant. The guard reaches for Aria's tactical vest pocket. Sophie suddenly jerks her partially freed arm upward, knocking Katerina's knife hand away. The watch on Sophie's wrist beeps once. Not the sound of a detonator, but the activation of an emergency beacon Aria had installed as a backup. In the chaos that follows, Aria moves like lightning. Her first strike disarms the guard, sending him crashing into Petrov. Her second motion releases a cascade of smoke pellets. Her third, a precise throw that severs Sophie's remaining zip ties with a ceramic blade. Kill them! Petrov roars, but Katerina is already moving, her knife slashing through the smoke with deadly accuracy. Down! Aria shouts. Sophie drops instantly, the response of someone who's practiced this, who's been prepared. The knife cuts empty air where her throat had been. Mr. Reed panics, firing wildly into the smoke. A bullet shatters one of the floor-to-ceiling windows, sending a blast of cold air swirling through the office. Papers scatter like startled birds. The watch! Sophie yells, struggling to remove it as the smoke begins to clear. Mom, they said it's... I know. Aria catches Katerina's next knife thrust, redirecting it into an approaching guard's shoulder. Trust me? Sophie's response is immediate. Always. Aria grabs her daughter's wrist, eyes scanning the watch's mechanism. The detonator is sophisticated, but the trigger is simple, a remote signal receiver, and every receiver can be... She pulls the experimental camouflage mesh from her suit, wrapping it around Sophie's wrist. The reactive material immediately interfaces with the watch, creating an electromagnetic barrier. Signal blocked, Aria confirms, but we need to... A shot rings out. Pain blazes across Aria's shoulder as Petrov's bullet finds its mark. He emerges from the smoke, gun trained on Sophie's head. Enough games, he snarls. The files, now. Check the vest, Aria says through gritted teeth. Your man never got the chance. The guard she'd disarmed scrambles to his feet, reaching for her tactical vest once more. His fingers close around something in the pocket. Sir, I've got... The hidden compartment in Aria's vest explodes, releasing a concentrated burst of the same military-grade smokescreen she'd used earlier. But this time, it's laced with a neurotoxin Marcus had acquired. Non-lethal, but immediately disorienting. Petrov and his men stagger, fighting to maintain consciousness. Only Katerina seems unaffected, her training evident as she charges through the smoke. The balcony! Aria pushes Sophie toward the broken window. Like we practiced. Because they had practiced this, in 1,000 subtle ways over the years. Every self-defense class that taught more than just defense. Every camping trip that included tactical training disguised as games. Every emergency plan that seemed like paranoid preparation for normal disasters. Sophie runs for the window without hesitation, grabbing the emergency repelling gear from her mother's belt with practiced ease. Behind them, Katerina emerges from the smoke like an avenging angel, twin blades gleaming. "You taught her well," Katerina admits, circling closer. "But some lessons can only be learned in blood." "Mom!" Sophie has the repelling line secured, ready to go. "We have to. Give me 30 seconds, Aria says, never taking her eyes off Katerina. "Remember the Marina protocol." Sophie nods once, then disappears over the edge of the broken window. The night wind whips through the office, clearing some of the smoke. "You've gone soft," Katerina taunts, moving closer. "The ghost I trained would never have risked everything for sentiment." "The ghost you trained was a weapon," Aria responds, shifting her stance. "I became something far more dangerous. A mother." They clash in a deadly dance of blades and skill, years of shared training making them almost evenly matched. But where Katerina fights with cold precision, Aria moves with the desperate strength of a parent protecting their child. Through the smoke, she sees Petrov recovering, reaching for his fallen gun. Mr. Reed crawls toward the door, forgotten in the chaos. Aria blocks Katerina's thrust, redirects her momentum, and makes her choice. The blade slides between ribs with surgical precision, not a killing blow, but one that will keep her former mentor down. "That's for Marcus," she whispers, then runs for the window. A shot rings out. Aria feels the bullet pass through her tactical vest, but there's no time for pain. She leaps through the broken window just as Petrov fires again. The repelling line catches her weight. Through the wind and adrenaline, she hears police sirens below, sees the FBI tactical teams entering the building, right on schedule. Sophie waits on a lower balcony, exactly where the protocol dictated. Like mother, like daughter, perfect execution under pressure. "Time to go home?" Sophie asks as Aria lands beside her. Before Aria can respond, her phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. A video file. It shows Sophia Reed, Mr. Reed's daughter, still held hostage in the hospital. Below it, text appears. "Did you think it would be that easy, Ghost?" One game ends, another begins. Tick-tock. Aria meets her daughter's eyes. "Not quite yet, sweetheart. We have one more stop to make. Because some ghosts don't rest until every debt is paid." Westbrook Hospital looms against the night sky, its windows gleaming like watchful eyes. From their position in the parking structure across the street, Aria and Sophie observe the constant flow of medical staff and visitors. "You're bleeding," Sophie says quietly, eyeing the bullet wound in her mother's shoulder. "It's nothing." Aria continues scanning the hospital's security feeds she's hacked into. 4th floor, West Wing. 2 guards outside room 412. 2 more circulating the floor. Sophia's inside, sedated, but stable. "Like I was?" "When they took me?" Aria's hand still on her tablet. She turns to face her daughter, really seeing her for the first time since their escape. Sophie's school uniform is torn and dirty, her face smudged with smoke residue. But her eyes are clear, focused, unafraid. "How long have you known?" Aria asks. "About what I really do?" "Remember 2 years ago, when those men broke into our house while you were at a conference?" Sophie's fingers make air quotes. "I saw the security footage, saw what you did to them. After that, I started paying attention. The self-defense lessons, the emergency protocols, the way you always swept a room when entering." Aria closes her eyes briefly. "I wanted to protect you from this life." "By lying to me? Like Dad did?" The words hit harder than Petrov's bullet. "Your father didn't know. I kept him in the dark to protect him, and it got him killed anyway." "But you trained me," Sophie says. "Even while lying, you made sure I could protect myself. Why?" Before Aria can answer, her phone buzzes. A message from Agent Chen. "Petrov and 6 others in custody. Katerina critical but alive. No sign of the Vermilion files." A second message follows immediately. Hospital surrounded. Extraction team ready on your signal. Because mothers prepare their children for the world they know exists, Aria finally answers, checking her weapons. Even if they pray they'll never need those lessons. Sophie absorbs this, then asks, "What's the plan?" "Our plan," Aria corrects, "is to get Sophia out, then end this. Together." She pulls up the hospital's blueprint on her tablet. Main entrance is watched, emergency room too obvious. But there's a service elevator that connects to the old pneumatic tube system, maintenance access only. "Like the ventilation shaft at home," Sophie nods. "When you made me practice escapes blindfolded." "Exactly. But first," Aria reaches into her tactical bag, removing a sleek case. Inside lies a matte black outfit identical to her own, sized for a teenager. "Time to suit up properly." Sophie's eyes widen. "You kept this in your go bag? For me? For when you were ready? When you needed to know the whole truth?" Aria checks her watch. "Which apparently is now. Suit up. We have 12 minutes until shift change." As Sophie changes, Aria's phone lights up with another message, a video clip of Mr. Reed being led into an FBI vehicle. His voice shakes. "Tell Aria I'm sorry. Tell her Sophia dreams of being a doctor, just like James had dreamed of saving lives before Aria's past stole his future." "Mom?" Sophie emerges from the shadows, the tactical gear transforming her from schoolgirl to operator. "I'm ready." Aria hands her a compact rebreather and night vision goggles. "Rules of engagement?" "Non-lethal only," Sophie recites. "Prioritize the hostage. Maintain cover. No witnesses. And if anything goes wrong, I get Sophia out while you handle it. No arguments." Aria nods, surprising herself with the surge of pride. This isn't the future she wanted for her daughter, but Sophie's chosen it with eyes wide open, just like her father would have. They move like shadows across the parking structure, using the skills they'd practiced as games over the years. Sophie's form is perfect. Silent, efficient, aware. A natural ghost. Service entrance in 30 seconds. Aria murmurs through their encrypted comms. "Remember the hospital protocol?" "Patient transfer East Wing," Sophie confirms. "Maintenance request filed for tube system inspection. Security badges cloned. Elevator codes bypassed." They reach the service door just as an actual maintenance worker approaches. Sophie times it perfectly, dropping her ID badge as she passes. The worker stops to return it, giving Aria the 3 seconds needed to hack the electronic lock. "Nice distraction," Aria approves as they slip inside. "I learned from the best." They're halfway to the elevator when Aria's phone vibrates. Unknown number. A text appears. "Like mother, like daughter. But can you both save Sophia before the poison in her IV takes effect? You have 20 minutes, Ghost. Choose carefully." Attached, a photo of Sophia Reed, sleeping peacefully as clear liquid drips from an IV bag. Below it, chemical formula for a compound Aria recognizes instantly. The same poison that killed James. "Change of plans," Aria says, already calculating new variables. "We're going in hot." Sophie checks her gear one final time, face set with familiar determination. "Together?" "Together," Aria confirms. "Time to show them what happens when you threaten a ghost's family. Because some lessons are passed down in blood, and tonight the student becomes the teacher." The service elevator creaks upward, each floor bringing them closer to Sophia. Through her tactical display, Aria monitors their ascent while scanning the hospital's security feeds. Something isn't right. "Guards are too relaxed," she murmurs. "They're not watching the room. They're watching the approaches." "A trap?" Sophie adjusts her rebreather. "They want us focused on Sophia." Aria's mind races through possibilities. The poison's a distraction. Petrov's playing a deeper game. The elevator stops at the 3rd floor. Through the doors, they hear footsteps approaching. "Maintenance check," a voice calls out. Sophie meets her mother's eyes. Without words, they move in perfect sync. As the doors open, Sophie stumbles forward, crying dramatically. "Please, someone help my mom, she just collapsed." The maintenance worker steps forward, concerned. Aria strikes from behind, a precise nerve strike that leaves him unconscious but unharmed. Sophie catches him before he falls, dragging him into the elevator. "Sorry," she whispers, securing his hands with zip ties. "Job hazard." They exit on the 4th floor through the maintenance corridor, using the hospital's old pneumatic tube system for cover. Through the wall vents, they can see room 412. 2 guards outside just as expected, but something about their stance. "Mom," Sophie whispers. "They're earpieces. Wrong model for Petrov's team." Aria smiles beneath her mask. Her daughter has her father's eye for detail. "Government issue. CIA, probably. Which means Sophia's already protected." Sophie's eyes widen. "We're not here to save her. We're here because Petrov knew we'd come." Aria checks her phone. 15 minutes until the poison takes effect, if it's even real. He's using this to pull us away from something else. A nurse approaches the guards, showing ID. They wave her into Sophia's room. Through the tactical display, Aria spots something off about her movements. "That walk pattern," Sophie notes, "like Katerina's." "Good eye, former operative. Watch her hands, she's favoring her right side." "Where I saw you stab Katerina." Sophie's voice hardens. "But she was in critical condition. Unless that was another body double." Aria's phone buzzes, a message from an unknown number. Ghost protocols weren't designed for family affairs. TikTok. Attached, a video feed showing Marcus, bloody but alive, strapped to a chair in what looks like a hospital basement. Behind him, computer servers hum. "The Vermilion files," Aria breathes. "They're here, in the hospital's secure data center. But Sophia is safe with CIA protection. The poison threat was a lie to ensure we'd come in through the top." Aria pulls up the hospital's infrastructure schematics, while they move the files out through the bottom. Sophie processes this with remarkable speed. "Split up?" "Absolutely not." Aria's tone leaves no room for argument. "We go together, but first..." She types rapidly on her phone, sending a coded message to Agent Chen. "Package secure. Vermilion transfer in progress. Basement level 3. The response is immediate. Teams moving. 4-minute ETA. Now we move," Aria says, already heading for the stairwell. "The CIA team will secure Sophia. We get Marcus in the files." They descend swiftly, using maintenance passages to avoid security. In Aria's ear, tactical chatter indicates FBI teams converging on the hospital from multiple directions. "Mom," Sophie whispers as they reach the basement level. "If Katerina's here, she'll be ready this time." "I know." Aria checks her daughter's tactical gear one last time. "Remember what I taught you about fighting superior opponents? Use their experience against them." Sophie's voice is steady. "They expect you to be predictable because they trained you." "Exactly. Katerina taught me everything I know about being a ghost." Aria allows herself a small smile, "But she taught me nothing about being a mother." They reach the data center's security door. Through the reinforced glass, they can see Marcus and the servers. No sign of Katerina. "Conventional entry suicide," Sophie observes. "She'll have backup systems, redundant triggers." "So we don't use conventional entry." Aria pulls out her last piece of experimental tech, a small device that attaches to the wall. "Remember your father's old stories about hospital infrastructure?" Sophie's eyes light up. "The oxygen supply lines, they run behind the walls, creating a perfect structural weakness." Aria sets the charge. "James always said hospital architecture was full of surprises." "I remember. He used to quiz me on evacuation protocols." Sophie's voice catches slightly. "He wasn't just being paranoid, was he? He knew. About everything." Aria's hands still on the device. "Your father was the bravest person I've ever known. He figured it out near the end, but instead of running, he stayed, protected you, gave me time to disappear. Why didn't you tell me?" Because he made me promise to let you choose your own path. Aria activates the charge's timer. Now you have. The wall-breaching charge hums to life, sending precise vibrations through the hospital's oxygen delivery system. In 30 seconds, it will create a localized structural failure, just enough to bypass the data center's defenses. Ready? Aria asks. Sophie checks her gear one final time. Just like the simulator in the basement? Better. This time it's real. The charge beeps once, mother and daughter tense, ready to move. Because some families are forged in fire, and some ghosts are born, not made. The wall crumbles with surgical precision, creating an opening just large enough to slip through. Aria and Sophie move as one, entering the data center before the dust settles. Marcus looks up from his chair, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. Took you long enough. Getting slow in my old age, Aria responds, scanning the room. Servers hum in climate-controlled racks. Emergency lights pulse steadily. No sign of Katerina. Don't, Marcus warns as Sophie moves to untie him. The chair's rigged. Pressure sensors. Aria's tactical display confirms it, a web of triggers and explosives beneath the chair. One wrong move and the entire data center goes up. Smart girl, Katerina's voice echoes through hidden speakers. Just like her mother at that age. Remember Budapest, Ghost? The way you moved through that embassy like a shadow? I remember you leaving me there to die, Aria responds, fingers flying over her tablet as she analyzes the bomb's circuitry. I was teaching you independence, and look how well it worked. A pause. Sophie, dear, did she ever tell you about her first solo mission? The night she earned her name? Don't listen to her, Marcus growls. But Sophie's already moving, checking the server racks methodically. The voice is bouncing between speakers. She's using the room's acoustics to mask her location. Very good, Katerina purrs. But can you find the Vermilion files before the FBI arrives? Before your mother has to choose between saving Marcus and completing the mission? A screen flickers to life on the wall. Security footage shows FBI tactical teams entering the hospital lobby, 4 minutes out. The files aren't in the servers, Sophie says suddenly. They're in his chair. The explosives are camouflage. There's a hard drive hidden in the base. Aria's chest swells with pride even as her hands continue working. Her daughter sees the patterns just like James did. Clever child. Katerina's voice hardens. But cleverness runs in the family, doesn't it? Ask your mother about the woman who testified. The one with the daughter just like you. Ask her what happened after she refused the contract. Sophie's hands still on the server rack. Mom? Someone else took the job, Aria says quietly, eyes fixed on the bomb's wiring. I couldn't save them. That's when I realized. Walking away isn't enough. Sometimes you have to burn the whole system down. And that's exactly what the Vermilion files will do. Katerina emerges from behind a server rack, gun trained on Sophie. Names, dates, contracts. Every ghost, every handler, every client, including some very powerful people who want to remain in the shadows. Put the gun down. Aria's voice is deadly calm. You won't get a second warning. Or what? You'll kill me in front of your daughter? Show her what you really are? Katerina's smile is razor sharp. The woman who trained you is dead, Ghost. I killed her the day you chose family over duty. No, Sophie says, turning to face Katerina. You just made her stronger. She moves like lightning, using a technique Aria recognizes, but not one she taught. The modified Krav Maga throw is pure James, something he'd shown Sophie during their self-defense lessons. Katerina recovers quickly, but those split seconds are all Aria needs. Her fingers complete the final sequence, disarming the bomb's primary trigger. Marcus, roll left! He throws himself sideways as Aria targets the secondary trigger. The chair's base splits open, revealing a sleek hard drive. Katerina and Sophie grapple near the servers, youth and unpredictability against experience and skill. A gun skitters across the floor. The files! Marcus shouts, diving for the hard drive. But Aria's attention is locked on her daughter. Sophie fights well, better than well, But Katerina is a ghost for a reason. The former mentor locks Sophie in a chokehold, using her as a shield. Enough games. The files, ghost, now. Okay, Aria raises her hands. You win, just let her go. Mom, don't. The files first. Katerina tightens her grip. Aria reaches slowly for the hard drive. You taught me everything about being a ghost. Every technique, every protocol. And you threw it all away. No. Aria's fingers close around the drive. I improved it. She throws the drive straight up. Katerina's eyes track it instinctively, the fatal mistake of an operator who thinks she knows all her students' tricks. But she never knew about the sessions with James, the late-night practices where a doctor taught his daughter pressure points and nerve clusters. Medical knowledge turned to combat advantage. Sophie strikes exactly where her father taught her, a precise blow to a nerve cluster that drops Katerina like a stone. Aria catches the hard drive as FBI teams breach the outer door. Time to go. She helps Sophie up. Marcus, he's already at the hidden exit panel punching in codes. Like old times? Better. Aria takes her daughter's hand. We've got backup. They slip into the maintenance tunnel as Agent Chen's voice echoes through the data center. FBI. Everyone freeze. Sophie squeezes her mother's hand. Dad would be proud, wouldn't he? He always was, Aria answers softly. Of both of us. Because some ghosts aren't born from darkness. Some are forged in light, in love, in the strength of family bonds that transcend death itself. And those are the most powerful ghosts of all. The maintenance tunnel winds beneath the hospital like a concrete serpent. Emergency lights cast long shadows as Aria, Sophie, and Marcus move swiftly through the darkness. Petrov's still in FBI custody? Aria checks her tactical display, tracking multiple heat signatures above them. For now, Marcus wipes blood from his face. But the Vermilion files will implicate half the agency's leadership once they realize what we have. They'll make him disappear, Sophie finishes, along with the evidence. A distant explosion rocks the tunnel. Dust rains from the ceiling as their tactical displays light up with new threats. Speaking of evidence, Marcus nods toward the hard drive in Aria's hand. What's the play? Before she can answer, her phone buzzes. A message from Agent Chen. Katerina escaped. Hospital compromised. Shadow protocol activated. Shadow protocol? Sophie asks, recognizing her mother's expression. What does that mean? It means we're out of time. Aria pulls up the tunnel schematics. Chen's implementing a communications blackout. In 3 minutes, this whole sector goes dark. Another explosion. Closer this time. Through the walls, they hear the thunder of approaching helicopters. They're not trying to capture us, Marcus realizes. They're trying to bury us, along with the files. Aria makes a decision. Sophie, take the drive. Head for exit point Charlie, your father's old clinic. What? No, I'm not leaving you. The clinic's systems are still active, Aria continues, pressing the drive into her daughter's hands. James maintained a secure server there, off the grid. Upload the files, then trigger the dead man switch, just like we practiced. Sophie's eyes widen. The insurance protocol. That's what this was all about? Marcus looks between them. Care to fill me in? James wasn't just hiding from my past, Aria explains, checking her weapons. He was building a kill switch, a way to expose every ghost, every handler, every contract. If anything happened to him, Dad knew they'd come for us. Sophie clutches the drive. He made sure we'd be ready. The tunnel shakes again. Through her tactical display, Aria spots multiple teams converging on their position. I'll hold them here. Marcus chambers around in his pistol. Buy you some time. No. Aria's voice is firm. You're going with Sophie. She'll need backup at the clinic. Mom, this isn't a discussion. Aria pulls her daughter into a fierce embrace. Your father protected us by preparing for the worst. Now it's my turn. Sophie hugs her back just as fiercely. The insurance protocol takes 12 minutes to upload. How will you? I'll keep them busy. Aria's smile is wolf-like. After all, I'm the ghost of New Harbor. Time they remembered why. A door bursts open at the far end of the tunnel. Flashlight beams cut through the darkness. Go! Aria pushes them toward the exit. Marcus, if anything happens to her, it won't, he promises, already moving. Sophie, come on. Sophie pauses for a heartbeat, memorizing her mother's face. Dad used to say you were the strongest person he knew. Not because you could fight, but because you'd do anything to protect what you love. He was a wise man. Yeah, he was. Sophie's eyes shine with tears and determination. See you at the clinic. Don't be late. Then she's gone, disappearing into the darkness with Marcus. Aria turns to face the approaching lights, her tactical display identifying multiple hostile targets. Her phone buzzes one final time. Katerina's voice fills her ear. Did you really think you could escape your nature, ghost? That playing mother would change what you are? You never understood. Aria activates her remaining combat protocols. Being a mother didn't change what I am. It showed me what I could become. She moves like a shadow through the tunnel. Every trick, every technique, every lethal skill honed over 15 years deployed with surgical precision. But now each strike has purpose beyond survival. Each movement brings her closer to ensuring her daughter's safety. The tactical teams never stood a chance. They were trained to fight operators, soldiers, even assassins. But they weren't prepared for a mother protecting her child. Through her comms, she hears Sophie reach the street level. Marcus's voice confirms they've secured transport. 10 minutes until they reach the clinic. 12 minutes for the upload. 2 minutes of overlap where they'll be most vulnerable. Aria checks her weapons as a new wave of operators approaches. Behind them, she spots Katerina's distinctive silhouette. Your daughter fights well, her former mentor calls out. But she's still so young, so innocent. Like you were, before I taught you the truth about the world. You taught me how to kill, Aria responds, voice echoing through the tunnel. James taught me how to live. Sophie taught me what's worth dying for. She triggers her last surprise, a series of charges hidden in the tunnel's support structure. Not enough to collapse it, but enough to force a choice. Pursue her or pursue Sophie. You wanted the ghost? Aria's voice carries through the smoke and debris. Come and get her. Because some legends are born in shadow, but the most dangerous ones? They're forged in the light of love, tempered by sacrifice and honed by the fierce determination of a mother's heart. Let them come. The ghost of New Harbor has one last lesson to teach. Sophie runs through her father's abandoned clinic, muscle memory guiding her through darkened hallways. Behind her, Marcus secures each door they pass, leaving electronic traps for pursuers. Server rooms in the basement, she says, punching in the access code. Dad used to joke it was the most secure patient record system in the state. Your father's jokes usually weren't jokes, Marcus responds, checking their 6. How long have you known about this place? Mom started bringing me here after he died. Training exercises disguised as memory visits. The basement door opens with a hydraulic hiss. I thought she was just helping me grieve, but she was preparing me. They descend into a state-of-the-art server room, completely at odds with the clinic's humble exterior. James's legacy hums around them. Racks of servers, encrypted databases, and enough processing power to rival a small tech company. 9 minutes until upload completion, Sophie announces, connecting the drive. Mom needs to hold them for... An alarm flashes on her tactical display. Multiple vehicles approaching. Government plates. FBI's faster than expected. Marcus takes up position by the door. Your mother's good, but even she can't hold off. She won't have to. Sophie's fingers fly across the keyboard. Dad built this place like a fortress. Watch. At the hospital, Aria moves like a vengeful spirit through the maintenance tunnels. Each encounter with tactical teams ends the same way. Non-lethal takedowns executed with ruthless efficiency. Getting sloppy, ghost. Katerina's voice taunts through the comms. The student I trained would have killed them all by now. The student you trained died with her husband. Aria triggers another series of charges, redirecting pursuit away from Sophie's escape route. The mother who replaced her is much more dangerous. Motherhood made you weak. Sentiment clouded your judgment. Katerina's footsteps echo closer. The ghost protocol exists for a reason. We give up everything, family, love, conscience, to maintain the balance. No, Aria melts into the shadows as another team passes. We gave up everything because you convinced us we had to. That love was weakness. That connection meant vulnerability. Her tactical display shows Sophie's progress. 7 minutes until the upload completes. She just needs to keep them busy a little longer. At the clinic, Sophie activates the building's defense protocols. Blast doors seal the entrance. Security shutters cover windows. The innocent medical facility transforms into a hardened bunker. Your dad was paranoid, Marcus observes admiringly. He was protective, Sophie corrects, monitoring the upload. Mom taught me how to fight. Dad taught me how to survive. Her tactical display shows vehicles surrounding the clinic. Agent Chen's voice comes through their comms. Sophie, I know you're in there. This doesn't have to get messy. Agent Chen, Sophie responds, her mother's training evident in her calm tone. Did you know about the Vermilion contract? About what they did to my father? A pause. Your father was a good man. He didn't deserve what happened. No, he didn't. That's why he built this place. Why he left us a way to expose everything. Sophie checks the upload progress. 6 minutes, Agent Chen. Then everyone knows the truth. Back in the tunnel, Aria faces off against Katerina. Their battle is a deadly dance of blade and shadow, each woman knowing the other's moves before they're made. You really think exposing us will change anything? Katerina strikes, her knife finding only air. There will always be ghosts, always be secrets that need keeping. You're right. Aria counters with a technique Katerina's never seen, one born from countless hours of sparring with James, his medical knowledge combined with her lethal skills. But they won't be our secrets anymore. Her tactical display shows multiple teams breaching the clinic's outer defenses, but Sophie's voice remains steady over the comms. 5 minutes, Mom. We're almost there. Katerina strikes again, drawing blood. Your daughter sounds just like you did at her age, before I taught you about the real world. No. Aria lets the wound fuel her focus. She sounds like her father, the man who taught me there was more to the real world than shadows and death. At the clinic, Sophie watches the upload bar tick upward. 4 minutes remaining. Outside, FBI tactical teams attempt to breach the blast doors. They can't get in, Marcus reassures her. This place is built like The power cuts out. Emergency lights flicker on as Sophie's hands race across the keyboard. Backup generators engaged, but they're targeting the clinic's infrastructure, just like Mom did at the hospital. Can they stop the upload? Sophie's smile is pure James, brilliant and unstoppable. They can try. But Dad planned for everything, even this. Hidden panels in the server room slide open, revealing additional systems. The clinic's innocent exterior had concealed a dead man's final gift to his family, a fortress designed to illuminate the darkness that claimed his life. 3 minutes, Sophie announces over the comms. Mom, almost there. In the tunnel, Aria bleeds but doesn't fall. Each of Katerina's attacks meets empty air as the ghost of New Harbor demonstrates what 15 years of motherhood truly taught her. Not weakness, not vulnerability. Purpose. 2 minutes, Sophie's voice echoes through both their comms. The truth is coming out, all of it. Katerina's eyes narrow. Then I have 2 minutes to finish what I started 15 years ago. She attacks with everything she has. But this time, Aria is ready. Because some ghosts are born in shadow. But the strongest ones? They're forged in light. The final minute stretches like an eternity. In the clinic's server room, Sophie watches the upload progress with iron focus, her father's determination written in every line of her face. Outside, FBI teams breach the outer security perimeter. 60 seconds, she announces over the comms. Primary upload at 92%. Marcus guards the server room door, listening to approaching footsteps. We've got company. Chen's teams are through the second layer. Let them come. Sophie's fingers dance across multiple keyboards, activating James's final protocols. Dad's last firewall is unbreakable. Even if they get in here, they can't stop what's coming. In the hospital tunnels, Aria and Katarina's battle reaches its crescendo. Every strike, every counter, every movement tells the story of their shared past and divergent futures. 50 seconds, Sophie's voice echoes through their comms. Katarina attacks with renewed fury, her blade singing through the air. All these years I wondered what broke you. What made my perfect student choose weakness? Aria deflects the strike, countering with a move she learned from watching Sophie's volleyball practices. You taught me to be a ghost. James taught me to be human. Sophie taught me how to be both. 40 seconds. Upload at 95%. At the clinic, Agent Chen's voice carries through the reinforced doors. Sophie, final warning. There are lines even we won't cross. But if those files go public... You mean if the truth comes out? Sophie's voice is steel wrapped in silk. About the agencies using ghost protocol? About how they murdered my father to keep their secrets? Your father's death was... 30 seconds. Sophie cuts her off. Upload at 97%. In the tunnel, Katarina draws a second blade. I gave you everything. Taught you to transcend human weakness. To become something more. No. Aria moves like water through shadow. You taught me to become less than human, less than alive. 20 seconds. Upload at 98%. The clinic's final blast door groans under sustained assault. Marcus readies his weapon as Sophie's hands blur across the controls, enacting the last phase of her father's plan. They're through, Marcus shouts as metal screams. Doesn't matter. Sophie's smile is fierce. Dad's revenge protocol is already active. In 10 seconds, every ghost protocol file, every contract, every secret gets broadcast to every major news outlet and intelligence agency in the world. 10 seconds. Her voice carries through the comms. Upload at 99%. Katarina lunges, blades flashing. Then I have 9 seconds to end the ghost of New Harbor. But Aria sees it coming. 15 years of watching Sophie's volleyball serves. Of practicing with James in their basement dojo, of learning that true strength comes not from isolation but connection. It all leads to this moment. 5 seconds. She moves exactly as James taught her, using Katarina's momentum against her. The same throw he used to win regional championships in college. The same technique he showed Sophie during their self-defense lessons. 3 seconds. Katarina's blades clatter to the ground as she flies through the air, her own lethal grace turned against her. She hits the wall with precise force, not enough to kill but enough to end the fight. Upload complete. The tunnel fills with the sound of phone notifications as the Vermilion files go public. Every ghost, every handler, every secret contract exposed to the light. At the clinic, FBI teams breach the server room just in time to witness the end of an era. Sophie stands proud among her father's servers, his final gift to the world humming with purpose. It's done, she tells Agent Chen. Agent, every ghost protocol operative, every agency connection, every contract, including the ones that killed my father. Chen holsters her weapon, shoulders slumping. You have no idea what you've just done. Actually, Marcus steps forward, badge in hand. She knows exactly what she's done. CIA Internal Affairs has been building this case for years. We just needed proof. In the tunnel, Aria zip-ties an unconscious Katarina as her phone lights up with message after message. The shadows that claimed James's life are finally exposed to the light. Mom? Sophie's voice carries renewed strength through the comms. Dad's revenge protocol worked. It's over. Aria allows herself a moment to feel it all. Grief, triumph, vindication. No, sweetheart, it's just beginning. Because some ghosts are born in shadow, live in darkness, and die in the light. But others? They evolve. They adapt. They learn that true strength comes not from hiding in the dark, but from choosing to step into the light. The ghost of New Harbor is dead. Long live the ghost. Aria heads for the surface, toward her daughter, toward their future. Behind her, Katerina stirs. "What happens now?" her former mentor asks, voice hollow. Aria doesn't look back. Now? Now we learn to live in the light. All of us. Because some legends don't end, they transform. And sometimes the most powerful ghosts are the ones who choose to haunt no more. Dawn breaks over New Harbor City as Aria walks through the doors of Westbrook Hospital. Not as a ghost, not as an assassin, but as a mother visiting her daughter's friend. Sophia Reed sits up in her hospital bed, pale but alive. Her father, looking years older but finally free of his burdens, holds her hand. When he sees Aria, tears well in his eyes. "I can never repay." "You don't have to." Aria cuts him off gently. James would have done the same for Sophie. Behind her, Sophie enters carrying a small gift bag. "I brought your homework, and maybe some contraband chocolate." The girls share a conspiratorial smile as Mr. Reed excuses himself, squeezing Aria's shoulder as he passes. Through the window, she spots Agent Chen coordinating with hospital security, no longer hunting ghosts, but protecting those who helped expose them. "Mom?" Sophie's voice pulls her back. Sophia wants to know if the self-defense offer still stands. Aria raises an eyebrow. "Self-defense?" "Well," Sophia grins weakly, "Sophie might have mentioned those special lessons you gave her. And after everything, I thought maybe we could train together," Sophie finishes, "like Dad trained us, but better." The words hit Aria like a physical force, not because they hurt, but because they heal. A wound she didn't know was still bleeding. Her phone buzzes. A message from Marcus. The CIA's Internal Affairs Division is systematically dismantling what remains of Ghost Protocol. Petrov faces multiple life sentences. Katerina has agreed to testify in exchange for witness protection. But more importantly, James's files revealed something else. A network of former ghosts who, like Aria, had chosen to walk away, who had found something worth living for beyond the shadows. "Actually," Aria says slowly, "I have a better idea." 2 weeks later, the former medical clinic has been transformed. Where once James treated patients, now a different kind of healing takes place. The sign reads, New Harbor Self-Defense and Community Center. Aria watches from the observation room as Sophie leads a class of teenage girls, including Sophia, through basic defensive moves. Her daughter's teaching style blends James's patient instruction with Aria's practical experience. "Never thought I'd see the day," Marcus says, joining her at the window. "The ghost of New Harbor, running a community center." "The ghost is dead," Aria responds. "This is something new." Speaking of new, he hands her a tablet displaying CIA surveillance footage. "Remember those other ghosts from James's files? The ones who got out? They're interested in what you're building here." Aria scrolls through images of former operatives living quiet lives, teaching martial arts, working security, raising families, all of them carrying the same shadows she once did, all of them looking for redemption. "Mom," Sophie calls from the training floor. "Show them that takedown from yesterday?" Aria smiles, handing the tablet back to Marcus. Duty calls. She joins her daughter on the mats, facing a room full of young women eager to learn. Not just self-defense, but confidence. Strength. The power to protect themselves and others. "The key," she begins, moving through the technique slowly, "is understanding that true strength isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, being whole." Sophie assists, demonstrating the counter moves with fluid grace. In her, Aria sees echoes of James's healing spirit and her own protective instincts, merged into something entirely new. After class, they walk home together through the sunset-painted streets of New Harbor. No more shadows to hide in, no more secrets to keep. "I found something in Dad's old files," Sophie says quietly. "A letter he wrote, the night before everything. He knew, Mom. About you. About what you were trying to escape." Aria's step falters slightly. "What did it say?" "That love isn't weakness. that choosing to protect instead of destroy takes more strength than any ghost protocol. Sophie takes her mother's hand. He said you taught him that. They reach their house, no longer a fortress of security systems and escape routes, but a home. Real photos line the walls now, not just cover stories, including a new one. Sophie and Aria at the center's opening, surrounded by their first class of students. You know, Sophie says, studying the photo, Dad used to say every end is just a new beginning in disguise. Aria pulls her daughter close, feeling the weight of the past finally lifting. He was right. About so many things. Because some stories don't end with the death of a ghost. They end with rebirth, with stepping out of shadows and into light, with choosing to become not what others made you, but what love shows you you can be. The ghost of New Harbor is dead, but Aria Cross, mother, teacher, protector, she's just beginning. And this time, she walks in the light. 3 months later, the evening sun paints New Harbor's skyline in shades of gold as Aria stands before James's grave. It's different now. No more furtive visits in darkness. No more whispered apologies for failures imagined and real. You should have seen her today, she tells the headstone, placing fresh flowers beside it. First official tournament. She took home gold, of course, just like her father used to. Behind her, leaves crunch under approaching feet. Agent Chen appears, looking different in civilian clothes. The last of Petrov's network was dismantled this morning, she reports. Katerina's testimony sealed it. Ghost protocol is officially dead. And the others? The ones who got out? Most have made contact through Marcus. They're interested in your rehabilitation program. Aria smiles slightly. The community center has grown, expanding into neighboring buildings. Former ghosts teaching alongside civilian instructors, sharing not just combat skills but the harder lessons. How to live in the light, how to trust, how to heal. James would have loved it, Chen says softly. He always believed in second chances. He did more than believe in them. He built them. Aria runs her fingers over the headstone. The clinic, the files, the fail-safes. He spent years creating escape routes for people he'd never meet. Like father, like daughter. Chen hands her a tablet. Sophie's program for at-risk youth just got approved for federal funding. 15 cities want to implement it. The tablet shows footage from the center's security cameras. Sophie leading a class of teenagers. Her movements a perfect blend of James's technique and Aria's precision. But it's more than that. It's the way she connects with them, helps them find their strength. You know, Chen hesitates, there's still a place for you at the agency. Legal this time. Training division. Thank you, but no. Aria hands the tablet back. I've got more important work now. Her phone buzzes, a message from Sophie. Mom, you're late. First parent-teacher conference as a normal mom, remember? Normal. The word would have once felt like a prison sentence. Now it feels like freedom. At Westbrook Academy, the halls are quiet after hours. Aria passes the spot where just months ago she'd noticed Mr. Reed's suspicious behavior. Now he's teaching again, running an after-school program with Sophia for students dealing with family trauma. She finds Sophie outside her calculus classroom, chatting with a group of students who clearly idolize her. Champion athlete, honor student, and secret warrior, just like her father, she wears many faces with grace. Mom, Sophie waves her over. We were just talking about the center's summer program. Half the volleyball team wants to join. More than half, one girl corrects. After seeing Sophie take down 3 guys at the tournament, we all want to learn that. Aria shares a knowing look with her daughter. Those 3 guys had been former Ghost Protocol operatives testing the center's security. They'd learned the hard way that the ghost of New Harbor's legacy lived on, just not in the way anyone expected. The parent-teacher conferences go smoothly. Sophie excels in everything, of course, but it's the teacher's comments that strike deepest. She has such empathy for others. Natural leader, just like her father. Always looks out for the underdog. Afterward, they walk to their favorite coffee shop, the same one where, months ago, Aria had monitored Sophie's activities through surveillance cameras. Now they sit together openly, sharing stories about their day. Got another message from Katerina, Sophie mentions casually, stirring her caramel macchiato. She's different now. Witness protection gave her a teaching job. History repeats itself, Aria muses, but sometimes better. Speaking of history, Sophie pulls out an envelope. I found this in Dad's old files. It's addressed to both of us, dated for today. Aria's hands don't shake as she opens it. James's familiar handwriting fills the page. My dearest girls, if you're reading this, then everything worked according to plan. The shadows are gone, the truth is out, and most importantly, you're together. Aria, my love, I knew what you were the moment we met. Not because you slipped, but because I recognized another healer hiding behind walls. You taught me that the strongest hearts are the ones that risk breaking. That true courage isn't about being fearless, but about loving anyway. Sophie, my brilliant girl, you were born carrying both our lights. Your mother's strength, my hope, and something entirely your own. Guard it well, share it wisely, change the world your way. Remember, every end is a beginning. Every shadow contains light. And love, real love, is the most powerful ghost protocol of all. Forever with you, James. Mother and daughter sit in silence, hands clasped, letting the words sink in. Through the coffee shop window, they watch New Harbor come alive with evening light. No more shadows to hide in, no more ghosts to fear. Just a legacy of light, passed from father to daughter, from mother to child, from past to future. The ghost of New Harbor is dead, but her light shines on. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.